We interrupt your social media scrolling to welcome you into the Humanity First Ohio Situation Room, where we don't wait to be told, we learn for ourselves.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Situation Room. Tonight, we're continuing our commitment to making civic information clear, accessible, and real. And this is a space where we move beyond headlines, where we ask questions that matter, and where you get a direct look at people and decisions shaping communities. Because here's the truth. If we don't understand the system, we can't effectively engage with it, right? And that's exactly why this room exists. Tonight, you are going to hear from Mayor Jeter. She's excited to talk to you, and so we will have her on. But I actually tonight have a surprise special guest that I'm very excited to bring on to the show. So right now, I am going to bring on Miss Sophia, and let's see where she is.
Hi.
We're so glad to have you in the Situation Room, Humanity First style, right?
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
We have had you before, and we have totally loved it. And we're so glad that you're back again with us. You did so much translation for us last time, but now we get to talk to you. And you are here to talk to us about a very special event that's going to happen tomorrow, right?
Yes, we have the event called Breaking the Silence. I am the founder of New American Cultural Center. My work, the New American Cultural Center, is actually centered around supporting individuals and families navigating real life challenges in our communities. So that's why we are focusing. Our first event will be about breaking the silence on domestic violence. It is one of the hardest truth have seen on the ground. We are facing in our community is domestic violence, which we don't really talk about. Everyone stays silent about it, and I think it's time to break that silence in order for all of us to actually heal and bring awareness in our community. We have lost so many lives, broken families, and many cases that never ever even get reported. So that's why tomorrow we're having this event.
And what led you to have this event now in this time? What was the thought behind getting this together?
Because first, to be honest, one of the Haitian American vice mayor in Florida passed away because it was all over the news. Um, it seems like the husband shot her 3 times, and she passed away. And she was about to run for Congress. And also, I've noticed so many women in relationships have been dealing with violence, but they don't talk about it. Especially people with the status that they have a status and they don't want people to know their personal life, and this actually cost their life. Because you know what, I believe that silence is part of the problem and awareness is part of the solution. If we don't speak about what hurts us, what we are dealing with, we are contributing um, to situations like this, death or whatever it may be. But when we bring awareness, it's part of the solution for people can have a space to heal and to actually get resources that they need.
I think that is so important, and it so ties into the time now. I think having you here with us is the perfect timing, right? Because right now we're in the middle of everyone rushing and getting ready to for the primary elections, and you think about all the pressures that brings for an individual who's running or people that are volunteering on their teams, and mental health is so important.
It
Like you,
is.
stature can cause one to feel feel that they can't reach out or express themselves and to seek the help that you really
And
need.
yes, it is. It is. And it is not just a conversation. It will also be a space for education, and resources will be available and will support that people found on silence will support that actually the community needs. Hearing from um, elected officials, hearing from mental health, hearing from people from different diverse organizations would actually help the community heal or be able to open up and get the resources that they need.
Yes, and like you said, that the resources. On the last show, we spoke about making the connections, right? So if
Right.
we have resources, but the people can't access them or they don't know about them, the system's kind of, broken. So I think that's very special that you're having this event tomorrow to bring about awareness for those resources and so people can access them and feel safe to be able to do so.
Yeah.
I,
'Cause
I
we'll also have Nationwide Children Hospital Support Group. We'll have the Columbus Police Department, DV department will be there. We have ETSS. We're going to be providing resources as well. The department that helps newcomers, immigrant communities dealing with this type of resources because it is what people need to know. They always connected domestic violence as physical or only, but domestic violence have different aspect. It can be verbal, financial, you name it, and there's more to come. That's why tomorrow is a great opportunity for people to come in and be able to be in the audience to actually ask questions and listen and actually get the resources, and also a great way to network with people because sometimes you may not want to go to seek help, but help gonna be there that tomorrow night where you can actually reach out to someone, get a business card or something, a phone number, or connect with someone to get the help that you need.
that's going to be awesome. Even if they, like I'm glad that we're bringing this forward about the event tomorrow. I know it's short notice, but um, just to be able to go and attend and say, hey, I need a little help here. You know what I mean? Hey, I'm just, people out there. If you have the time, you're in the Columbus area, get to this event. But you may can't say on a regular basis, I'm going to call such and such, or I'm going to do such and such because of here. But if you say, hey, I'm going to attend an event, and you go there and you find the resources and the help that you feel comfortable with, then Sophia, I think that is a beautiful thing that you are doing for the community.
And also, it's not gonna stop there. It's called breaking the silence. It's gonna be keep going. It's gonna keep going. It's not a one-time event. We're gonna try to keep it. We're actually planning to keep it monthly, where we're gonna come with different topics which people needs to break silence about. That's gonna help policymakers, to help the community as a whole to actually get resources, get connected, get healing, and in this aspect. So we are partnering with so many different organizations and businesses to bring awareness to our community at large. We're not focusing only on the newcomers, the new Americans, but we are focusing on the whole community in Columbus, Ohio, because we all are dealing with something and we need a space to actually speak about it and bring awareness.
I think that's great, especially, and we think about situations for people who are experienced or is experiencing um, this type of situation. But there are times when you might know of someone, your coworker, your neighbor, a friend, and that's a very delicate balance. So your program that you're having tomorrow is good, even if you aren't experiencing it, but the steps on how to help someone that you know might be in that position, right?
Definitely, and bring a friend, bring a family member, and then the youth also. You may not understand that. Okay, some youth, how can they go to violence? But they do. They go to mental health. Seeing parents or someone in the family dealing with certain things can actually affect them mentally, affect their ability to learn in school. So all this going to be addressed as well.
Yeah. So young people should come because
Yeah.
you have your parents or someone could be. I was talking to as an area commissioner, I was talking to um, some young people with some of these things happening, and sorry, thank you. Young people need to have a space and understand how to reach out if they're experiencing these types of things at home, because a lot of times the teachers will kind of see this as through behaviors, right? They will
Yeah.
see this through behavior and not necessarily them saying, hey, I need a little help. Matter of fact, there was a student over at East High School. There was a situation, I think our state is aware of the situation that happened to a young man. There was an altercation and some violence, and luckily the coach was there to save his life. But some of the things they talked about in that town hall, some of the young people were, I wish there was someone that I could talk to, or I could have, I could say, hey, I need some help.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
out to. So is this a good event for, maybe high schoolers to come out and people.
Yeah, the event is also for everyone. It's not only for survivors, but friends, for family members, leaders. It's for everyone who wants to understand and how to recognize the signs and be part of the solution.
Well, I'm glad you said it was for everyone, because sometimes you'll go to these events and then, they say, well, it's some sensitive information. But this is a great community resource that you are offering to the community. Who's going to be on the panel?
Mm-hmm. Well, we're gonna have Marissa Bowers. She's the Gahanna City Council. She's also an attorney. We're gonna have Dr. Tina Pierce. She's also, just like Marissa, the second term elected Board of Education. That's Tina Pierce. And then also I forgot to mention that Marissa Bowers was also a second term elected Gahanna City Council. We're gonna have Dr. Lizzie Bronte. She's a advocate for domestic violence, and we're gonna have Officer Kofi. He actually in the Columbus Department of Police. They're gonna be there talking about law enforcement, also how they get involved in when you make a call or when you need the help, etc. And also we're gonna have opening remarks by Mr. Derek Anderson, Department of Neighborhood Assistant Director, and also going to have our closing with Attorney Emmanuel Aloe. So, which is yeah, he's going to be doing the closing for us, and it's going to be a lot of good surprises. So it's going to be yeah.
Down with information that's going to be given out and viewpoint, touching almost every area of this. So wow, this is a heavy hitter event for the community, and I'm hoping everyone, HFO Nation, goes out, and like I said, education isn't for those who are just affected, but education is for all of us to get involved in and to know and be a part of. So the event is tomorrow at what time?
Doors open at 5:45. It starts at 6 p.m. to 8 p.m.
6 p.m. to 8 p.m. And where can they find out more information?
ETSS, located at 4300 East Broad Street, Columbus, Ohio, 43213. Let me say that again. It is at ETSS 4300 East Broad Street, Columbus, Ohio, 43213.
Well, that's excellent. And where can they go online to find more information?
We have created a Facebook, but they can reach out to me 614-282-7173. And it's a series that we are starting tomorrow is the first series, and then as we go along, there's going to be more ways for them to connect with us and to actually join the other events that will be followed.
Well, that's going to be amazing. I'm going to try to make it out to that event myself so that I can pass along information to our HFO nation. And I appreciate you sharing that information with us, Sophie.
Well, I appreciate you giving me the platform to actually share that information. And thank you so much for sharing it on your platform as well, and opening your door for me to talk about this important topic.
Yes, ma'am. Well, if you hang out with us, then I'm sure you will have some questions for our has some things that she wants to share with us. So
Definitely.
hang tight, so okay. You guys, the moment you've been waiting for, we are going to have an excellent discussion tonight. We are joined by a leader who has stepped into service, leadership, and community with purpose. From public service to ongoing civic engagement, she brings both experience and perspective to the conversation. Please help me to welcome Mayor Jeter. Mayor, we are so happy to have you here. Can you hear us?
I can hear you all just fine. And can you hear me?
I can hear you. You are there, and we're so happy to have you in the Situation Room.
I love it.
Absolutely, absolutely. We had Sophia on a minute ago. I know you know her very well.
Yes. Was she talking about the New American event? I caught the tail end of that. That's happening tomorrow.
Yes, yes.
Oh,
I'll pop you back up there, Sophia.
yeah.
The tail end. Your event is tomorrow, right? You can talk.
Yeah. Yes, it is tomorrow. It's a pleasure seeing you again.
Yes, likewise. It should be a wonderful event. You have a great panel. Sorry I will miss it, but hopefully I'll get future ones, you know?
Definitely. The future one will be definitely part of it.
Such a topic that we need to have within our community.
Yes.
For sure. I absolutely believe that if we get the help we need within our community, then we are a stronger community and can organize better and lift our voices better when we're not dealing with things within our community.
Definitely.
Yes, I was telling her, like, you know, this is the perfect time to have this event because before you were on, we talked about how, you know, elected officials running for office, public space, how difficult it might be with the pressures that you have on you, facing domestic violence and abuse, to reach out for help because you're in the public, you know, not the proverbial abuse, the people who have these issues are in the eye of the public, and you run the risk of your, you know, everything in the public eye and people misconstruing things. I think I actually saw a story on Amy Action, and they went way back. I think Dispatcher, one of the publications went way to the back when her and her husband had a disagreement, and officials had to come out for this domestic issue, and they blew it way up. And she's like, well, wait a minute here. But the thing is that, you know, these are the things fears that people have. But to have that powerhouse of a panel tomorrow evening is really going to be useful to some people that you probably do every day, right?
Yes, it is going to be very powerful and needed in the community.
Yeah. And I mean, the news has shown, not to stick to it, but, you know, we have the vice mayor of Coral Springs, you know, we have the recent, and so I think it's also a timely, I like when a topic is not just important, but also a very timely time to have the discussion. So good on you all.
Yes.
Well, Sophia, we're going to have you in a second. We have got to get to this. Remember, I'm always afraid to say people. Share with us how to say your name,
Well, I'm gunning for the one namer, just call me, like, people just call me Mayor Ukeme, or just call me Ukeme, my first name, but it's Ukeme Awakessien Jeter. And what's nice about being a one namer is no one asks what your last name is. So like Oprah, no one's like, you ever said, Oprah, what's your last name? Like Beyonce, no one says, Beyonce, what's your last name? It's irrelevant. So
like a tribe called Quest. You say the whole thing,
Yes, when it's very formal, say the whole thing. Ukeme Awakessien Jeter. But otherwise, it can just be Ukeme.
Yes.
Yeah.
Call you, and you know what? I call everybody within that are elected. I just call you honorable. That way,
that solves everything.
You change roles on us. You get put up, and when win elections, then I'm still in the right. Okay.
There you go. That will do it.
Absolutely. So we'll get to you, Miss Sophie, in just a minute. I've got to get to the honorable.
Oh.
So let's get to you. And so let's go with your origin story. I love a good origin story. I am a comic book nerd of sorts. I love a good origin story. And I'm sure that the HFO Nation and your constituent would like to know more about you.
Oh, wow. With origin stories, I'm always curious how far back we go. Do we go back to the Saturday morning that my mom was walking to the farmer's market and felt the pinch, and that's the labor that I was coming, and she still said, I have to finish these groceries, otherwise we're not going to have food in the house for the week, Working mom, Saturday was the day that you did groceries. Did we go that far back? Or can we just start like coming here for college? How far are we going? But all that to say, I was born on a Saturday child. I was the hardworking child, right? So a little bit about my origin. Almost 30 years ago now, my parents did a very brave and difficult thing in letting me get on a plane alone with a one-way ticket here to the United States for college. I had no family here, no networks, none of that. Didn't know a single soul here, other than I had this incredible opportunity to attend the University of Maine. I was a student there, and I went to track. And so that was the opportunity that I had. Maine was quite a culture shock. I'd never seen snow a day in my life before landing here. I'd never eaten a hot dog. So baseball terms and games, I didn't know nothing about all of that. But it was also an experience, I think, for the first time. I always tell people that I understood race as a construct, right? I was born and grew up in Nigeria. We spent some time in the Middle East, but I'd always been around people of color. I had never understood. In fact, I'd never really been called Black until I landed in the United States. I saw Black doctors. I saw Black police officers. I saw Black teachers. My favorite chemistry teacher was a Black female. So these were things that were not foreign to me, or that I even had any context or understanding of till I arrived in the United States. I was one of 3 female engineering students in my class, and I was the only Black engineering student in my class. And so I got to learn a lot in that experience. I graduated with a degree in mechanical engineering and got a job right away. And by every measure, I am the embodiment of the American dream, the dream that my parents believed in, the dream that if you work hard enough, opportunity will rise to meet you. I think we're living in a time right now where there's a lot of hopelessness about that dream, that it doesn't even feel like a reality, that it's so out of reach for the next generation. I spent 20 years as an immigrant, and despite what you hear on the news, immigrants can't vote. We contribute. We work. We pay our taxes. I started my career as an engineer. Then I went to law school after almost a decade. So law was a second career for me, practiced law for almost a decade. And I remember the day well. It was 2016 November. Hillary had just lost the election. I was pregnant for my second child. My son came the next month in December of 2016. And I remember thinking, goodness, my daughter is going to have less rights than me. I already had my daughter. My son was coming. And that's when I decided to start the process of becoming a naturalized citizen. And I knew after spending 20 years, kind of seeing some of the systems around me crumble, that once I became a naturalized citizen, I wanted to do more than just vote. Right? I wanted to be in the arena. The Hamilton soundtrack is one of my favorite songs. The Room Where It Happens. The room where it happens. And you have to be in every decision in our lives, every single one, your workplace, in school, wherever happens in the room, someone's making that decision. Is incumbent on us that have to live with decisions to figure out what that room is and gain influence into that room. So I moved to Upper Arlington in 2018. My daughter was just about to start kindergarten. I moved here for the reason many people moved to Upper Arlington, for the schools, but also the older homes, the trees, the proximity to downtown, pull any single resident in Upper Arlington. These are some of the top reasons they choose to live here. But when we got here, I felt a lot of similar experiences I had felt when I came to the University of Maine almost 30 years ago through my daughter. My daughter came home from school one day being the only Black kid in her kindergarten class, asking to straighten her hair. And that experience for me was, well, okay, it was an odd question for her at 5. At 5 years old, you're just curious and you're thinking about belonging. And I thought, well, government has a role to play in how people feel in community. Government has a role to play in how we build community. And government has a role to play in making our lives better. And so in 2021, I decided to run for Upper Arlington City Council. Didn't think I was doing anything historic by any means. When I did it, I was mostly just focused on my children. Because I had chosen this as home, this is where I was raising my 2 kids, I wanted to impact home for them. And so when I won that election, I was both humbled, but it also validated for me humanity, right? That as humans, more binds us than divides us. And if you pay too much attention to the news, you will think it's all division. We all want the same things. We all want a roof over our heads. We want to eat. We want opportunities present for us. I was raised, education is the greatest equalizer. Doesn't matter what your socioeconomic status is. As long as you can read, do the math, you can be in the room. Those are the things people need to start believing again. And our state house has gone too far out of touch with people. And so this second time around, when I ran for re-election to Upper Arlington City Council, I started to hear something different. Things that are happening in our state house that I can't fix in City Hall. Our property taxes, school funding, minimum wage is not keeping up with inflation. And again, that American dream slipping out of reach, almost non-existent for the immigrant at this point, and slipping away from Americans themselves. And so that's why I jumped in the arena. I know I told you more than my origin story, because I know your next question was going to be, why are you running? I just roped it all into one. So here we go.
This is your floor. We're giving you the platform to talk about these things. And I think it's so important because what I'm hearing right now is that you're recognizing these glass ceilings and then you're the one that's shattering them. I'm like, wow, coming up from the hood, I'm big trying to figure things out and work, but you've come into a whole new world. You've navigated, issues of race and culture and trying new foods and you shatter those. And then a lot of people we're looking to get the one degree and you collected them all like McDonald's monopoly. One of these, and then you see the issues in your community, and like you said, things are out of reach. You recognize the glass ceilings, and then you thought to yourself, "Who better than me?" For your daughter, and to see a piece of yourself in her. And here you go again, reaching for the sky and shatter some more glass ceilings.
Thank you. Sometimes it's hard to even think about it that way. I think the fight is to not lose hope. Hope is such a great instinct, and it should be a call to all of us to say, okay, if I'm not going to lose hope, what do I need to do to keep hope alive? So it may sound like shattering ceilings, but for me, it's a way to keep hope alive, not just for me, but the generation that my children are growing up into and other people's children. They're not yet of the age to be in those rooms. We're in the rooms on their behalf, making sure that we don't ruin it further for them. And what I see is us continuing to ruin. I mean, I haven't even gotten into like public universities and SB1 and thinking about what is it? Why are we banning books and why are we trying to limit what it is that people learn? To what end? To what end? Knowledge is power. And we're capping knowledge.
Capping power.
Hey now, listen to you.
I mean, it is what it is. And it's I have books behind me. My house are big readers, okay? We enjoy our reading time. We have tons of TV here, but we rarely watch them because you can go anywhere and be anyone you want to be and learn whatever it is you want to learn through a book. And I totally understand that point that I don't know what we would do without books. You know what I'm saying? It's unfathomable that even exists. But there's someone such as yourself that recognizes the issue and can position oneself to be able to tell yourself to do more, to do something about it. And you have answered the call to the Great Commission, as they say, and looking to the sky.
Indeed.
So tell me, what are the top issues you believe are most affecting communities right now, and how are you going to approach it?
Yeah. Well, when I decided to run for state rep, it was after I'd actually just come off the campaign trail. So I'd spent a lot of time listening, and I have what I call the RISE plan, the plan to help us rise. And RISE is an acronym. I wrote a book, and my book coach really taught me how to write things in acronyms to get people to remember it and to stick. And so RISE is an acronym, and these are these to answer your question are the top issues. The R in RISE, real property tax reform. Our property taxes, especially in the district, but this is true for all of Ohio because 90% of Ohioans rank property tax as a top issue for them. So this cuts across the state. Taxes are out of control. How we tax in Ohio is out of control. And how it has gotten this way is because the State House has continued to back away from its funding priorities. Its funding priorities of our schools. Picture this: in 1999, the state used to fund 50% of the of education. So local governments did 50%, the state did 50%. That was the fair split. This year, the state will spend less than a third. So in 30 years, they've just constitutionally, and it's been ruled unconstitutional how they fund the schools. Schools are not fairly funded. Because of that, local communities are forced to pass tax levy after tax levy after tax levy to be able to fund our schools. And that's why you see the quality of education is based on the zip code that you're in. I said earlier that most people choose Upper Arlington because of the schools. Well, we continue to pass tax levies. City of Columbus is going to be bankrupt by 2030. If you put a school levy on City of Columbus, chances are that won't pass. So now we are telling our children that the quality of education that you get is based on your zip code. It's just not right. At the same time, local governments have to keep adding to that local government fund. So that's why we see this tax levy issue. The State House also has reduced its contributions to the local government fund. We saw that in the Kasich era. It's continued to go down. And I know this because as mayor, I have to manage around these funds, right? These limited resources. In Upper Arlington, well, quote unquote, fine, but that has come at the heavy price tag of the taxpayers in this community into that healthy fund balance. But people are fed up, especially our seniors. And a third of the population of Upper Arlington are seniors. So what has happened with our seniors is they bought their homes 30, 40 years ago. The price they bought it then is not what is appraising at now, right? And we know our property taxes are based on appraisal. So say they bought a house for $100,000, $120,000. That house is now $700,000, $800,000, $900,000. Well, that's what the property tax they charge is based on. That senior in the home is on a fixed income and cannot pay that tax, is being taxed out of their home. And catch this: the growing population for homelessness in the state is seniors. Yeah. They are the ones becoming homeless. So we're creating just a host of issues without property tax reform. So that's number one. That's the first thing that we've got to work on: property tax reform. The I is investing in communities. I talked a little bit about the local government fund, but that, in addition to everything that makes our lives work, or cost of living in the district, a good share of people in the district are parents and young parents. So childcare is a big issue. Two issues with childcare: you can't find it. The quality ones are not there to start with, and when you do find it, it is buco money, right behind your mortgage. Some people are even more than their mortgage. It's crazy. And so we have got to fix the childcare issue if we want people in the workforce. People are leaving the workforce to care for their child. I was just talking to a woman the other day that said, I had to exit the workforce because it was my paycheck was just covering childcare. I might as well stay at home. We got utility bills that are out of control for people because of a host of things. Utility companies are not being held to proper regulation, and that's spiking our bills. But secondly, we have data centers coming to the state without a lack of utility regulation. Are they bringing their own utility? Are they using ours? What's causing our electric bills to get out of control? I spoke to a guy recently that said over the last 7 years, his utility bills have gone up 66%. It's crazy. People are feeling that pain of the utility bills. I am.
Him out? What made
Huh?
you take the meters out?
They did. There was just a price hike April 1st.
For the bad, for the worse.
Yeah, so it is we've got to get back to the what makes Ohio a place that people choose to raise their families. Our Midwest values are working family values. That if you work and live here, you can afford to take care of your children. We've got to invest back into those the things that make the infrastructure that makes family work. That's the I in RISE. The S is supporting our public education. I talked a little bit about the property taxes and the fair funding of education, but there's also another issue that's draining public education, and that's a voucher system. This voucher system in which we wanted to fix the failing school issue by saying, oh, you can take a voucher and take it to a private school that you want. But we're drawing money out of public funds. We didn't create a separate fund for these voucher systems. We're drawing out of the public schools. But not only that, it's ballooning out of control and doesn't have the same accountability or transparency as our public school funds. Tell a public school, you have got to meet all these requirements. You got to test your kids in all these places. That increases the amount of administration that we have in public schools and in the administration costs, because they're keeping up with all these tests that we have to test the schools. But we don't have the same accountability with that voucher going to a private school. We don't tell the private schools, oh, by the way, report to us all your testing data the same way that we expect of our public education dollars. So I say to the vouchers, because people are like, oh, you me, you're for me, nothing is ever a zero-sum game. I'm all about the fairness of the situation, because I'm willing to bet if we told those private schools to have the same reporting metrics as our public schools, they will not take the vouchers, right? And the money will stay back in public schools. So we need to do that. We've got to support public education. That's the S in RISE. And the E is effective leadership, and this is what ties RISE together. For the last decade, there has been a lot of shouting matches and pointing fingers, both at the national level and at the state house. But the people that have had to bear the brunt of that lack of anything happening out of our state house is the people. We have got to get back to the politics of people. No one is asking for these culture wars. I like to say, let's call out the BS, but call into the solution. If it's wrong, it's wrong. Call it out, stomp up and down, shout about it. But then also say, sit here at the table with me. Let's try to draft a solution. Let's try to figure this out. We have been missing that calling in part and that solution part, because we just play a zero-sum game in politics. Now, Democrats are a super minority, so they have no leverage, quote unquote, meaning a Republican can pass any bill without needing a Democratic voice. But I still believe, even in that situation, that if we focus on the humanness of the issue, and I have traveled this state, I did a program, Leadership Ohio. I've been to rural Ohio, urban Ohio, suburban Ohio, I've been to different communities. And I'll go back to what I said earlier in this conversation. The human issues are the same. If you go to rural Ohio, 45 minutes to get an ambulance or be able to find a hospital. The closest hospital to them is a drive, and they don't have a car. Guess what? Those are the same issues in East Cleveland, in urban core Columbus. But what's different is who's representing these populations. The representation of rural Ohio, Republican. The representation of East Cleveland, Democrat. But if we solved the issue of, oh my gosh, it shouldn't take anyone 45 minutes for a doctor to see them in crisis. If we focused on that and say, how do we solve that so that that doesn't happen? It solves the problem for rural Ohio, and it solves the problem for East Cleveland, right? That's what we need to get back into the business of, because then those two representatives are sitting at the table and saying, we gotta get healthcare accessible. We gotta get health, and they're focused on that. That's effective leadership. That's the type of leadership that we need in our state house now, because yelling and fighting doesn't get us change. You got to yell, fight, and sit at the table and orchestrate something for change to happen. And so that's RISE. Those are the things I'm focused on for our state house. That's the plan. I have a host of opinions on a lot of things, but I think if we stick to this core, we start to have some relief, and then we can start to work on a lot of other issues as well. Like I said, we got public universities. SB1 needs to be repealed. We cannot take our abortion rights away, right? There's other fights that also need to happen alongside this as well.
What do you say to the people that are like, let's get rid of property tax completely?
Oh my goodness. I did a video on this for the campaign. It is so unacceptable. We cannot eliminate property taxes. Property taxes fund Ohio to the tune of about $20 billion. If we got rid of it, police, fire, all gone instantly. But what it is doing, it is highlighting a very real issue and pain point for our representatives. Ohio's fed up. That's why that has gotten that much oxygen, because of our inaction for years on the issue. So it would be a terrible situation if that were to pass. And I think it's a call to representatives to say, because this is a pain point, let's fix it. Let's have reform now, so that people are not even interested in the ballot initiative.
Well, people have to follow you and watch that video for more information on these topics before making that decision. Well, we want to honor your time. I think what I wanted to ask you, and I think Sophia has one question for you, and then we're going to let you to talk to your constituents and get you back on your schedule. But I think it's important. A lot of people don't know we're hiring for these roles, and we're asked to, okay, pick somebody for it. What is it that your district needs to know that's most important about this state house role?
Well, here's the thing. If I like to say constituent services, your representative represents you, represents the people in the district. So in all of this plan, all these things I plan to work on, need to figure out picking the person that is accessible to you. That's what's important in making that decision. One, there's a lot of legislative accomplishments that I am proud of, having served the city of Upper Arlington. I would say one that I am extremely proud of, because it speaks to accessibility, is that under my leadership, trust in local government has gone up 5 percentage points. And it's done so because of a lot of things that we've put in place around transparency, around being the trusted voice for people. And that trust takes a while to build, right? You got to put a lot of goodwill into it. Accessibility, knowing that sometimes you may not like everything that I have to say, but you know that I'm going to tell you exactly what it is. And it's going to be transparent. It's going to be in a public forum so that you know about it. That's the constituent services that's important. Your rep has to be someone you can see calling, emailing, bringing up an issue about, because that's how we work for you. We can't represent you without knowing what it is that you want representation on.
That's important. I know my reps probably are tired of me, because I get in the email, go down and knock on the door. Hey, he's here. No problem. Alert. But that is very difficult that they make themselves available. We see too many times where someone will grab an office. You can never talk to them. You never hear from them until it's time for election. And you're like, where's the disconnect? So I'm very glad that you brought up that point, and we can see physically the receipt in your administration now with the mayor and the council, where you have made yourself accessible, and anyone who out to help. I've reached out to you, and I have you here, and I honor that you were able and willing to come and talk to our HFO nation and talk to the community and take time out of your busy schedule. With that said, Sophia, are you ready to ask your question? Because then we've got to turn her over.
I only have one question, and I'm very satisfied with everything that you mentioned. But one question that I have is that you mentioned about property taxes. What about I work with a lot of families who are renters. They are on fixed incomes, and I work in Upper Arlington, so I know there are people who are renters as well, and they have. How are you going to approach the property tax relief for them, and what specific measure would you support to prevent displacement and also rent increase tied to property taxes? Because you may work with property taxes, but the landlords, the owners of these apartment complex may not decrease rent.
Right. And this is where we get into private markets and private ownership. And to that point, this is where I also think about markets, and we have got to increase the availability of housing, because when you have more supply, then the landlord knows there are no, basically it's like, I'm not the only game in town, right? So you almost have to do property tax reform in addition to increasing housing supply to create that competition. That's the only way prices go down. Prices continue to go up because we lack supply of housing, and the landlord knows, oh, if you don't take it, I have another tenant that's going to come take it. But they have to be like, they have to feel the pinch of, my house is going to stay on the market 6 months without being rented unless I reduce the price. That's the pressure point.
Yeah, the demands.
Yes.
Yeah, because I know that I work so many newcomers who have lack of language barriers. And also I meet so many of them too who are facing with discrimination in the housing sectors, where they don't give them the services that they need because of the lack of understanding of the rental agreement, and also they have language barriers, and they taking advantage of them. So I know that it might not be something that you can deal with, but it's, how do you see that? How do you plan on helping these newcomers who are hardworking people in the area, and how you willing to help them? And not only they're dealing with the increase of housing, lack of employment, language barriers, and you name it.
Yeah. I mean, you have named a host of issues. I always like to start with the Maslow triangle, right? So like thinking about the immediate human needs, right? Housing, food, whatever, is that very important first step. Like, how do we have them housed? How do we have them in a safe environment? And how do they have jobs to be able to pay for those things? That's the base layer. When I think about rental, access, safety, all of those, I think about how does the State House support local communities so that they have like I think about our city hall having support for renters. Like, if your place is unsafe, you need to have somewhere that you can call. Like, you need to have a third party to report the issue that doesn't feel punitive, right? Local communities need this so that we can put landlords on notice, right? But that's purely local government service to offer. Then from a State House, we need to remove barriers to employment based on accents or biases or certification or those kind of things. I know I talk to our partners in the healthcare industry, and it's like, I like to tease, but it's true. The heart is in the same place, whether you learn it in Arabic or you learn it in French. So just because someone is coming as a doctor from a other country, what should matter? Can they pass the board certifications and the tests, not where they get their education? And our certifications are tied to where the university was. I say this personally as an engineer. We have the professional engineering certification. Well, it says you need to go to a ABET school. Well, ABET is American something engineered certified. In the name is like American, so you have to have gone to an American certified education. And it's like, whoa, 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 whoa. The law of gravity is the same, whether you learn it in French, whether you learn it in the US or you learn it in the UK or you learn it in Nigeria. And so what you're really testing for is not where they went to school, but do they understand the law of gravity? And so we have got to start shifting some of these certifications away from so-and-so accredited university, so-and-so, because the accreditation agency is an American accreditation. So got to remove those barriers to employment, especially in our healthcare and some of these certified places. And they start to have jobs. They start to feel confident that they're contributing, right? You're making money and you're paying your taxes. And then that will result in feeling like a contributing member of society. So you can get a home and all those kind of things. So we've really got to tie human need with policy.
Okay. Well, last question that I have for you, Enze, also, how would you engage community leaders so policies reflect life experiences? Because the community leaders, they are on the ground. So how would you connect with them and engage them in order for you to serve better?
We got to meet people where they're at. If COVID changed a lot, if there's COVID changed how people gather. Government has got to get away from thinking we create the event and you come to the event. And that's how we hear from you. We've got to start thinking about, well, what community event is already happening? I mean, I even do this in my campaign. And how do we plug into that? That's how we reach a community. It's not creating something and inviting them for them to come, but we've got to start different ways of going into the community. Oh, they meet at the mosque on Friday? The mosque on Friday. After the mosque on Friday, you have the barbecue at the mosque on Friday after they get out of that. That's how you reach them. Oh, you want to reach this community when they're doing that? Tie it to a place that they're already going to be and create your event concurrently with that. That's how we start to reach people where they're at rather than expecting them to come to us and tell us. We also have to start becoming a leader that looks for who's not at the table. By that, I mean, we have to be extra vigilant of saying, okay, I don't see this type of voice represented, or I don't see this type of voice represented. So we are not creating solutions for people, but co-creating them with them.
Well, that is amazing. You are so knowledgeable. I like I told my other guests, I could just sit and bask forever. Like, I want to know all that you know. To follow you, and that makes it the most interesting because you want to know more.
Well, I am Ukeme for us on every platform that is.
Absolutely. Well, we appreciate you coming to visit us in the HFO room. Honorable Ukeme, are you still there with me? Can you still hear me?
I am. I'm still here.
Our connection's good.
Yes, I can still hear you.
Appreciate you coming and talking to everyone. We're encouraging you on your campaign trip. Now I'm going to disappear and I'll let you know your constituents, and we will see you on the trail.
All right. Thank you so much. See ya.
Mayor, you can let us, she disappeared. We got a lot of information from her tonight, didn't we, Sophia?
We did. Yes, we did. It was very good. Thank you for having her as well. Great information.
Absolutely. I wish she could stay longer. She has other obligations, but she got in there and got it done. I think we're a little over her time, but you know what? It was so worth it. It's so worth it to hear from our candidate. I mean, she's actually on with their office now. So, I mean, she's still available in the role that she's in. So hearing from her now and you working up for Arlington, reach out to her and let's hold our candidates and our leaders accountable.
Definitely. Well, thank you for the job that you're doing, interviewing her and then reaching out to other leaders in the community and elected officials or people running for office. So I think that you're doing a great job informing the community as well and allowing them to actually meet their candidates.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We got a job to do, and our job is to hire someone, the right person for the job. And I almost feel like, hey, we want you to hire this person for this job. Well, what's the job? What do they do? Who is this person? I've never seen this before. I'm expected to go to the ballot box and hire this one for this job. And so that's why Humanity First, we're nonpartisan. We want everyone who is willing to come and talk to the community, talk to their constituents about what their campaign is, who they are. You know, sharing your origin story allows us to see who you are as a person and what sparks your interest, and it tells a lot about the adult that you are, you know, and how you see the world.
Definitely.
So I appreciate her coming. I appreciate you coming. You have come back again to us, and now you're in the situation room. But we want you to share this information with your community as well. And, you know, feel free to reach out. You want to just do a show and speak in French.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for having me again. I appreciate it.
You can host your own situation room, Ms. Sophia.
Thank you. And I can't wait to see you tomorrow.
I will see you tomorrow. We will see all of our HFO Nation in the first. We will see all of you tomorrow, hopefully at that event. Make sure that you tune in, HFO Community Sophia, Ohio. On Wednesday, we will be going live with Dr. Hambley, who is running for the Ohio Secretary of State.
Oh, wow. Beautiful.
So we will have him. So you have till Wednesday to think of your questions that you might want to ask him. Research the role. When you watch your candidates, you want to see if they're knowledgeable about the job that they're applying for, right? So
Right.
It's incumbent upon us to do our job as HR people, right? And to make sure that our candidates are the right fit for the job. So I appreciate you, Sophia. I'll see you on the other side. You're always welcome back in the Humanity First Ohio room. And we will see you next time.
Thank you. Bye-bye, everyone.
And just like that, we're closing out tonight's conversation here in the HFO Situation Room. Thank you again to the Honorable Ukeme. And thank you for her stepping into the room with us, and to Sophia for bringing community voice into this conversation. To everyone watching,